Good evening. The Suffolk City School Board will now come to order. We will have the Pledge of Allegiance by Mrs. Bashar.
Would you stand for the Pledge of Allegiance?
Of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Bashar. I'd like to take this time to recognize two potential board members elect, Mrs. Jenkins and Mrs. Story. Now we will have the certification of the closed meeting.
Resolution of certification of the closed meeting of November the 8th, 2018, pursuant to Section 2.2-3712 of the Code of Virginia, 1950 as amended.
So moved. Second.
Board members will please vote. Motion carried.
We have one public speaker, Mrs. Jennifer Brown. Is Ms. Brown present? At this time, we will have the reports by the superintendent, Dr. Whitney.
Thank you, and good evening, everyone. At this time, I'm going to call to the podium Ms. Beth Ann Bradshaw, our Public Information and Community Relations Specialist.
Sorry. Good evening. Sorry. Each month we take this opportunity to share with you and our viewing audience at home some of the excitement that happens in our schools each and every day, and some of the wonderful accomplishments of both of our staff and our students. So tonight we're proud to announce that Northern Shores Elementary School has been selected to receive one of the first Virginia Distinguished Purple Star school designations for its strong support of military-connected students. This award was announced just last week by the Virginia Department of Education and the Virginia Council on the Interstate Compact on the Educational Opportunity of Military Children. Only 55 of the state's approximately 2,200 public schools were recognized with the Purple Star designation in the state's inaugural program year. The Purple Star designation will help guide military families to schools that have supports in place for children who change schools frequently because of military relocations. Dan Dunham, the military student and family specialist with the Virginia Department of Education, is here tonight to share a little bit more about the state award. And also Northern Shores Principal Lori White and Guidance Counselor Maria Ehring will share some more specific information on what Northern Shores Elementary does to help its own military-connected students. So I'd like to call three of you up to the podium together, and Mr. Dunham will speak first.
Thank you. It brings me great pleasure to present to you today this certificate of recognition from the council. I coordinate the Interstate Compact Council for the state of Virginia, and it wasn't but I think 9 or 10 months ago that they decided to have this designation for schools across the state who support military-connected children. Virginia, for those of you in the audience and for the school board, if you're not aware, we have 73,000 school-age military children in the state of Virginia, 66,000 of which are attending our public schools and are taking advantage of the excellent education that Virginians are offering their students. And so it's very important to the council. The council comes together to support military-connected children as they transition in and out of the state, and to offer up the compact as a law to assist principals like Mrs. White so that they have the flexibility they need to level the playing field for military children. And they often have to move. It's common for military children to move at least 6 times during their educational career, and so educational continuity is very important. We thought that, we knew that there were probably schools across Virginia that were doing a really good job of supporting these children as they move in and move out of the state, and so I'm very pleased tonight to present Ms. White with this resolution of recognition, and I'd like to read it if I may. So the Virginia Council on the Interstate Compact for the Educational Opportunity of Military Children, resolution of recognition to commemorate designation as a Purple Star School, Northern Shores Elementary School, Suffolk Public Schools. Whereas Northern Shores Elementary School has been selected as a Purple Star School by this council, and whereas the Purple Star designation is an award of distinction bestowed for a period of 3 years, and whereas Northern Shores Elementary School was selected for excellence in establishing a school culture dedicated to meeting the transitional needs of military-connected students, and whereas the support of military-connected students improves the well-being of military families and supports mission readiness, and whereas Northern Shores Elementary School has demonstrated this commitment to support military-connected students through ongoing professional development, peer transition support, and community engagement. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Virginia Council on the Interstate Compact for the Educational Opportunity of Military Children hereby commends Principal Ms. Lori White, the faculty, staff, students, and parents of Northern Shores Elementary School for achieving Purple Star designation, adopted in Richmond, Virginia, this 24th day of October in the year of 2018. It's signed by all the council members. I have one more token that I would like to pass along. It's a challenge coin. So many of you all who might be in the military or might have seen one of these before. The military gives challenge coins to service members who often do a fabulous job. So a unit might bestow upon a service member or the command, and so the council would like to bestow this upon you and your staff who are doing a great job. So bravo.
Wonderful.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We appreciate that.
I just certainly want to thank Mr. Dunham for coming all this way to recognize Northern Shores Elementary School. I would like to share with you that this has been a process that has occurred over many years. Ms. Eyring in particular, our guidance counselor, has put a lot of time and effort in building our programs and helping to support our students. And I did just want to bring your attention, if you don't mind, to our kiddos on the screen. This was just last week, and I think this is a great example of what our Anchored for Life transition program does for our students. We had a storybook character day, and these two dressed in uniform, and were very quick to tell Ms. Eyring in the hallway that they had found a friend, and that they had found a friend in uniform down the hallway. So we thought that was a pretty special moment that we certainly wanted to share with you all tonight. And thank you all for allowing us to serve the community that serves us so well. Thank you.
We appreciate that.
Mr. Chair.
I did
Yes.
want to mention, can I add something real quick? Terry Lynn Williams, who works with us through our military liaison program, it did come in, so we wanted to recognize her because she works with all of our Suffolk schools.
Thank you. I'll give way to Ms. Dr. Buck.
I wanted to say that I'm from a military family. My daughter attended 11 schools before she graduated from high school, and it makes such a difference for children in military families when they come to places where people understand what their lives, what's involved in their lives, and what's involved in their, what you need for their success. So just a special thank you for what you're doing. This is wonderful.
Thank you. All right.
All right, next we have introduction of school administration, office, and school administrators. Dr. Suzanne Rice, our Assistant Superintendent for Student Services, will be presenting those individuals.
Thank you, Dr. Whitney. Board members, I bring to you tonight the last group of administrators or administrative teams. And administrators, as I call your name, if you would please stand. From the Teaching and Learning Department, we have Dr. Maria Lawson Davenport, Advanced Instruction Supervisor. Special Education Department, we have Director Diane Glover and the supervisors Julie Masters, Diane Rusnak, and Latoya Floyd. From the Human Resources Department, Director Rodney Brown and Coordinator Diane Whiting. Nansemond River High School, Principal Daniel O'Leary, Assistant Principal Michael Miltier, Assistant Principal Tara Worley, and Dean of Students Henry Brent. Not with us tonight is Assistant Principal Janice Bibbo. Thank you all for all of your hard work.
And the last item for reports by the superintendent is the calendar of special events. If you'll turn to page 5, you'll see we have 4 items listed there. The first one, I do want to bring your attention to the viewing public. We do have our State of the Schools Breakfast and Learning Fair, Friday, November 16th at 7:30 a.m. at the new Colonel Fred Cherry Middle School. We also have a Career and Technical Education 11th Annual Professional Student Conference on November 15th, Disability Awareness Informational Fair on November 16th, and the College and Career Readiness Fair, Saturday, November 17th. And that concludes the superintendent's report. Back to you, Mr. Chair.
All right, thank you, Dr. Whitney. Now we have the consent agenda. I'd like the board members to look over and see if you would like to have anyone be discussed.
I move that we accept the consent agenda as written.
Second. Board members will please vote. Motion carried.
Have unfinished business, Dr. Whitney, Capital Improvement Plan, Northern Shores Elementary School update.
Yes, sir. You may recall during our last board meeting, you asked that we take a look at expanding what we had originally proposed as far as the expansion at Northern Shores, considering the potential growth. Normally at this time, I'll call to the podium Mr. Terry Napier, but he's out with a medical procedure, recuperating quite well. So I'm going to take a stab at this. If you'll take a look on page 7, you'll see that we have the beginning of this presentation as far as the addition. Now, as you are aware, you have already sent a document to the city as far as the capital improvement plan that included adding additional classrooms. But considering the potential growth, you've asked us to go back and look at adding more classrooms. I think it's important for us to look at the 6-year enrollment trend that we've had over the last several years. And you can see between the years of 2014-15 through 2016-17, we were growing anywhere to 40 to 50 students each year. A slight decrease, you can see from 17-18 to 18-19, but it's still early in the year. And as you well know, we do have a huge military population, so it kind of fluctuates at that particular school. So it behooves us to address this as much as we can, also keeping in mind how large do we actually want to have a elementary school. So the first proposal, and we have 2, is a single-story proposal that actually adds 17 classrooms. 17 classrooms, but that's a net gain of 15 classrooms. You may recall Mr. Napier shared with us when we talk about adding on, we lose 2 classrooms. We still have them as space, but they're not full classrooms. So when we look at this particular slide here, we can see a total of 375 new seats. But keeping in mind, one of the goals is to get all of our students in the building out of the mobile units. So we'd actually be bringing in 125 students from the mobile units, plus we have to consider the 50 students from the 2 classrooms that we lose. So that's 175 seats that would be filled at the very beginning of this project or at the completion of this project. So that leaves 200 additional new seats for future growth. Now, when we ask our designers, our architects to design this, we also wanted to consider additional resource space, as well as additional restrooms, and expanding our cafeteria, which we oftentimes refer to as the core facility. We also have what we refer to as a functional building capacity or programmatic capacity, and that would increase it from 780 to 980. We have an estimated cost for building construction in addition to a parking lot expansion. And one of the things that we've included here is an escalation cost of about, or increase of about 4% each year. And you can see 2018-19, it would be roughly 10.5 million, 2019, 10.9, and 2020, 11.3. Now this is the current view of Northern Shores. Not quite, because there's actually more mobile units, but the items that you see detached there represent the mobile units that are there. I thought it was important to just see exactly where we are and where we'd like to be. The C that you see in the middle of the diagram represents the current cafeteria. Now, as we look at the next slide, this again is the actual expanding it with 17 classrooms. The blue areas represent the additional classrooms, and if you'll take a look, see if I can use this pointer here, yes, on this slide here. If you'll take a look right here, these are the additional restrooms that we would be adding to this addition. The 2 classrooms that we lose actually become resource rooms, and when we say resource rooms, we can refer to those, it could be speech, it could be OT, it could be PT, a variety of things. We also have, we will be fortunate enough to have a teacher workroom right here in this orange area. This particular view is just somewhat of a 3D version view, if you will. One of the things that I didn't mention, and I guess I should now, is the additional cafeteria space. Now, keeping in mind that this is the current cafeteria, this is the kitchen, and the architects are suggesting that we add an additional cafeteria space on the other side of the kitchen. One of the concepts that we've talked about is perhaps one of the cafeterias being the 3rd through 5th grade or 4th and 5th grade cafeteria. And with that being said, it could be a little bit more independent type dining, where it could be more of a buffet type style. We've seen that in some schools as well. This is a sky view, if you will. The unique thing about the single-story addition is that everything would obviously be leveled, and the goal would be for it not to look like there's an addition to it, as far as matching the bricks and not looking as though they've added an additional piece to this particular building. A side view. Looking again, this is the new area that we're talking about adding. That concludes the 1-story, but you also asked us to consider a 2-story addition. And this would be 20 additional classrooms with a net gain of 18 classrooms. This would create a total of 450 new seats, again, pulling in the 125 students from the mobile units, 50 students from the 2 lost classrooms, so a total of 170 filled seats at the project completion, which leaves us with 275 additional new seats for future growth. Again, this also includes areas for collaboration, resource spaces, restrooms, and cafeteria expansion. Obviously, with a 2-story, we'd need an elevator, stairways, an additional upstairs restroom adds to the overall cost as well. You can see where this increases the functional capacity from 780 to 1,055 students. And again, you can see the costs here for 2018, roughly 11.4, 2019, 11.8, 2020, 12.2. Looking at the diagram here, this is the first floor. You can see the first floor is much like the 1-story addition without the additional classrooms here. But you can see where we maintain the 2 resource rooms. We also have the cafeteria. Lost my pointer here. The cafeteria in the same location as well, the addition for the cafeteria. This is the second story, which, if you will, this is just obviously the second story piece impacts just the addition.
Okay.
Just the addition. We're not adding on to the existing building a additional story simply because it's not structured for such. This is our 3D version, if you will. And you'll note this is where the elevator is actually located, next to the teacher workroom. We have the additional restrooms located here. It's kind of a side view, if you will. Again, a bird's eye view. Now, you'll note that obviously if we go with the two-story version, it won't be level. In fact, I can get my pointer here. You can see where this is the old building, and you can see right at the top here, it would be obviously higher. So the question, I mean, obviously it would look like an addition. I mean, it would be well done, but it would be pretty clear that it's an addition. In fact, this version here gives you a better view on the concept. And so that's what we've come up with as far as the two proposals. I mean, clearly, we have worked with the city, and we know that roughly about 1,000 homes have been approved in the Northern Shores zone. That doesn't mean that they're going to happen to next week, next year, or whenever. We don't know when they're going to happen. It's a mix of types of homes, apartments, certain age restrictions, as well as just single-family dwelling homes. So it's a matter of considering that we see that we have a projection of 1,000 more students, or homes possibly, which means additional students. This is an action item, and I'll refer you back to the page that actually has the cost for the single story. Just allow you to see what we're talking about, because this would require us altering our current capital improvement plan, resending it to the city. That's for the single story. And of course, you have also the estimate for the two-story.
Like about $100,000, about $1 million more?
More,
Am I
roughly,
reading that correctly?
yes, roughly $1 million more.
But the, looks like the per student cost is less with the two-story.
Right.
Will the two-story have to be built on top of it during the school year?
It would take place, yes, during the school year, but keeping in mind, again, it's an addition, so it wouldn't impact the actual building, the entire building. Those two classrooms that we lose would have to work around students and school operation time during that time,
But
yes.
for the second story, though, if you did it that way.
The second story is just going to be on the back?
It will
Right,
be on the
just
back, but it
gonna be
still
on
will be
the
attached to
addition.
the building.
Right,
So
but
the
it-
same area that is going to be attached, whether it's single or double story, will
Would
still
be
be.
a separate
yeah.
from the kids.
Action item, any other comments, you'd like to make?
I'd like to make a motion.
I like the idea that there's the two-story one is going to be more practical for use than the one-story one, and it comes in at much more reasonable money than I think the one-story one does.
It seems to
More
make
money,
more sense.
it's less per student, and so, and more students, the larger capacity in the
Right.
same space. You said you were going to make a
I'd
motion.
like to make a motion that we accept the proposal for the two-story.
Board members will please vote. Motion carried.
All right, second item is the approval of the ordinances. This second reading, this action item.
I move that we approve ordinance 18/19 through 30, through 18/19 through 39.
Second.
If board members will please vote. Motion carried.
Next, we have new business, Dr. Whitney.
Yes, this is the time of year that we generally will share with you proposed secondary courses. I'm going to call to the podium Dr. LaToria Harrison, our Assistant Superintendent for Teaching and Learning, to present to you our presenter for the secondary courses that are being proposed for 2019-2020. Dr. Harrison.
Thank you, Dr. Whitney. Good evening, Chairman Copeland, Vice Chair Byram, school board members, and Dr. Whitney. As Dr. Whitney just shared, I'm going to call up to the podium our Advanced Instruction Supervisor, Dr. Maria Lawson Davenport, who's going to share with you our proposed courses for the 2019-20 school year. Dr. Lawson Davenport facilitates that process in our school division, and each year we bring to you a list of courses that our committee has reviewed and would like to propose for the coming school year. So, Dr. Lawson Davenport.
Evening.
I apologize, you don't have a copy of this in our packet.
I'm going to be going through the courses that we are proposing to offer for 2019 and 2020. And a brief overview, you have this in the memorandum on page 39 in your board book. First, we have 11 new courses that we are recommending to the board. 8 course amendments, these are going to be changes that we make to current courses. 5 courses that we do not recommend at this time, 1 course deletion. And with these new courses, we do have an increase in personnel requests of 2 teachers and an increase in instructional requests for teachers to have a 6-block class. And as I go through the courses, I'll explain which courses those are. So our new courses that we're proposing are AP Calculus BC, AP Computer Science Principles, Computer Science Foundations, ESL as English as a second language, and that's levels 1 through 5, so that would be 5 courses. Journalism 2, Literacy Strategies for High School Students 2, and Theater 4. The first course is the second level course for the current AP Calculus that we offer. We have more students who are coming into the district with geometry at the middle school level, which means when they hit 12th grade, they're going to need another alternative to AP Calculus, which they could take in 11th grade. So by adding BC, this gives those students a second level of calculus that they could take. AP Computer Science Principles and Computer Science Foundations are 2 courses that we're proposing in order to start to meet the state standards for computer science. There are new standards of learning for computer science, and we're working on an implementation plan to add those to K-12. So these 2 courses would be the beginning of that. English as a second language, this is a course that actually acts as a world language course for ESL students. So instead of, for example, a student speaking Spanish taking a Spanish course, they can take an ESL course for their world language, for that credit for world language. Journalism 2 would be an addition to, currently we offer Journalism 1. Literacy Strategies for High School Students 2 also would be an additional course for those students that are in that course currently. And then Theater 4 would be the 4th year course for students who are currently enrolled in any of the theater courses. Are there any questions on the new courses? Okay, with those courses, we are proposing new positions. ESL, we are looking to provide 1 ESL teacher for the district. This would be an itinerant position, so this person would be able to teach the sections 1 through 5 of the ESL course within the 3 high schools. Those courses can run concurrently, meaning a student can be enrolled in ESL 1 and ESL 2 and be placed in the same class. So by adding a position, this teacher would be able to teach at the 3 high schools And they would also be able to act as an instructor or assist in the middle and the elementary school as an ESL consultant as well. The computer science position, we're asking for a computer science / math teacher to provide instruction in those 2 computer science classes that we're proposing. This teacher could teach, for example, 3 courses, 1 at each high school, and then the additional blocks could cover a math class. Teachers that have a math endorsement are eligible to teach computer science classes as well. And then lastly, we're asking for funding for an additional 6 block for English teachers. That's to cover additional courses in the literacy strategies at the high schools. Course amendments and deletions, and I'm not going to read through all of these, but the science courses that are listed, we did make some changes based on recommendations from College Board and recommendations from the state. Based on realigning some of the science courses that was done at the state level, we just made some adjustments to the prerequisites. The Survey of World Languages is an adjustment we're making to our course in order to meet one of the issues we had with students coming in through a virtual class. And the Honors Earth Science, we have moved Earth Science down to the middle school as an advanced science at the middle school level. So we are eliminating Honors Earth Science since we will have students already at that level. Students will have options to take more advanced sciences with taking Earth Science at the middle school level. They'll be able to take AP Bio and AP Chem at the high school level now, which will give them more advanced courses when they get to high school. And then lastly, Theater 1, which is currently only allowed for students in grades 10 through 12. We are amending that to add grade 9 so that students can take all 4 theater courses while they are in high school. And with the addition of the Theater 4, we've made that course sequence complete. Courses we're not recommending at this time: AP Music Theory, a couple of dual enrollment fine arts courses, and sports medicine 1. We did not have enough interest in these courses and enough data to support proposing those courses right now. So with the approval, these courses will be available in either 2019 or 2020, depending on funding and student interest. Of course, if we don't have enough students wanting the course, we won't run the course. Curriculum writing, training, and teacher identification will take place during this school year so we can make sure all the teachers who need to be trained, for example, in AP Calculus and AP Computer Science, can attend training this summer and be prepared to teach that class in the fall. And then, of course, we'll make adjustments to the program of studies so that students are aware of these changes. Are there any questions?
Is there any prerequisite for the AP Computer Science class?
The current prerequisite, and let me make sure, I don't want to misspeak. It should be listed on the course. Is geometry. Geometry. So a student coming into high school, it is a 10th through 12th grade level course, not recommended for 9th graders only because of the level of rigor for the course.
I have a question.
Question, yes.
The itinerant teacher who teaches ESL, how many ESL teachers do we have?
We currently have no ESL teachers.
We would have one ESL teacher for all the schools?
We would have one ESL teacher to teach those courses at the 3 high schools.
Right.
But this person, with only teaching 3 classes, they'd also be available to assist at the other
They'd
buildings.
be consulting
Correct.
if we needed them somewhere else.
Correct.
But we do provide some additional assistance for ESL students, whether it's through tutoring, things of that nature.
And we do have ESL teachers teaching these students currently at Nansemond River, and we have a teacher at Kings Fork. They are not just ESL teachers. They're teaching it as an extra block, and they are endorsed in ESL.
Okay.
Any other questions?
This is an action item.
This is an action item, yes. Action item.
I move that we approve the secondary courses for 2019-20 that were presented.
Board members will please vote. Motion carried.
Next, we have Virginia School Board Association 2018 Annual Convention Delegate Assemblies, second alternate.
Yes.
as was requested, for this to be added to the agenda so that you all could choose an alternate to give them your proxy, to give the chair and vice chair their proxy in the event that they're not present during the meeting.
This also include the region meeting on Wednesday afternoon, because the last year that was where we lost out on our vote because we didn't have that opportunity.
This item was brought by Mr. Mitnick because of the fact that we didn't have anyone present, I understand, at the last one. So we need an alternate so that that person may be able to vote on our behalf.
It needs to be amended to include November 14th because the Tidewater Regional meeting's on the 14th, and there was also a vote taken there that we weren't able to participate in last year.
Action item. Action item.
I'd like to move that we select a alternate representative to vote for Suffolk Public Schools School Board at the November 14th region meeting and the November 15th delegate assembly.
That's for this year.
For 2018,
year's
yes.
Could we also select the name and let the name be added with this motion? I would like to add Mr.
Designate.
Mr. Mitnick.
Okay. Okay.
I'll be happy to
If it would be all
accept.
right with you. Okay.
Board members will please vote. Motion carried.
Next, we have proposed changes to employees' 2019 drug prescription plan joint city project.
Yes, I'm going to call to the podium Mrs. Wendy Forsman, our Executive Director of Finance, to give you an overview of the proposal as far as the drug prescription plan that is a joint effort with the city. Mrs. Forsman.
Good evening. About 10 months ago, the City of Suffolk called and had wanted us to explore an opportunity to hire what's called a pharmacy benefits manager. And this person or company that you would hire would go and purchase through the market, through the wholesale market, the drugs and formulary for us instead of Anthem doing that through Express Scripts. The city of Chesapeake had recently signed a contract at that time to have that service provided for them, and they were saying that it was going to save them quite a bit of money. So we wanted to at least explore the opportunity, because we're always looking for opportunities to save money. So for the past 10 months, we've been meeting with the city and with the consultants concerning this and looking at the city of Chesapeake's contract. Of course, there's lots of information that has to go back and forth with all that, and we've sent all the information as requested, and we did a lot of work. However, on October 4th, the city called and said that during the time that they were looking at this, that Anthem called. Anthem renegotiated with them and wanted to provide a joint contract for the two of us, so the City of Suffolk and Suffolk Public Schools. And this contract would allow us each to maintain our separate policies and our separate plans that we currently had, but allow everything to run under a single PBM, if you will. And so there are changes, though, that they were going to require for us to make by January of 2019 if we were to do this. So I want to run through a little bit of that with you so you can understand exactly what changes we're talking about. There are lots of terms in this, and I'm sorry, some of this is kind of complicated, but I'm trying to make sure you understand what I'm saying when I'm talking about these terms. So one of the terms is average wholesale price, or AWP, and that's the price that the manufacturers of these drugs publish based on the drug, its strength, and the packaging size. and they use what's called a Metaspan pricing index database to publish this. And then they use discounts to that in the industry for these PBMs, these people that go out and do this. There's a dispensing fee, of course, by the pharmacist when they're giving a drug, and then there's maximum allowable cost, which is the price set by your PBM, your person that's managing all this, for generic products. So there's generic, and then there's specialty formulary products. So there's all these different pieces to this. But these folks settle these prices and set the discounts. Then there's something called rebates. And so currently we receive a rebate through Anthem every single month that that cuts back on our administrative fees. So every month they take our administrative fees, they apply the credit from the rebates for the pharmacy, and then we pay the difference. Currently that's a credit to us of about $10 per month per employee. But these rebates come based on what you've purchased, how you've purchased it, and the rebates that they get based on the volume of drugs they're purchasing. So that's what a rebate means. So this is kind of a busy slide, I'm sorry, but I was trying to give you the full piece of it here. One of the things they're talking about is a RX of choice, or a pharmacy of choice. And you can see here that currently we get 17.5% off of that AWP, or that pricing. With this new program that they want us to put in place, we would get 18.45%. For your network of 30-day supply, and then if you go over to the 90-day supply, it's 20.15%, and if you do home delivery, it's 25% as a rebate off of that cost, okay? And it goes down for different generics, et cetera. With the joint pricing, this joint contract that they want us to do, there are some things we have to put in place, as I said. So one of the things we would need to implement for this contract to go into place January 1 of 2019 would be this pharmacy of choice tiered retail pharmacy network. And I'll explain what that is in a minute, but that's one of the things we'd have to do. Another one is a Smart 90 pharmacy. Again, implementation would have to be January 1. And then the third one would be to consider using an exclusive specialty or an open specialty pharmacy for those specialty drugs. Now, specialty drugs currently are Tier 4. They're the ones that our employees pay the most for, and it would, if we went to a exclusive specialty, they'd have to go to a certain pharmacy to get those drugs. Okay, so that's called exclusive pharmacy. And if they didn't go to that pharmacy, then there would be an upcharge or an additional charge to that drug that we would have to pay. Make sense? So, again, the implementation January 1 of these three programs, at least two of them absolutely, and one we'd have to consider. So I'm going to try to explain what these three programs are. The RX of choice, the pharmacy of choice, is aggressively priced, networked pharmacies that Anthem has gone out and gotten a special deal with for employees to use those pharmacies and get a better deal on the drugs. The employee would pay no different than they currently pay, but the cost to the school division would be less if they went to those specific pharmacies. If they chose not to, then they would pay a higher copay and maybe a higher percentage to get those prescriptions. The Smart 90 program is where employees would need to get a 90-day supply of maintenance drugs. Now, maintenance, what I mean by maintenance, things like high blood pressure medicine, cholesterol medicine, things that people take to maintain their health. And so if they had a 60-day prescription right this minute, they would have to go back to their doctor to get a 90-day prescription. And then they would have a choice to either go to the preferred pharmacy or to get the home delivery of that drug. Then the exclusive specialty, as I explained, is those specialty drugs that we would then send folks to a single pharmacy to get that would save money, or there would be this fee, increased fee, if on the school division side, if they went to a different pharmacy. So those are the three programs. So as I explained, the pharmacy of choice, you have level 1, where the employee would pay the same as they're currently paying now. Co-pays would be the same. The percentage they're paying is the same. That for those, I believe it's 6 pharmacies in Suffolk, and they are they're on the next slide, so I'll tell you them, but there's specific pharmacies they'd have to go to get these drugs. So if you didn't have your prescriptions there, you'd have to go and move them in order to get that pricing that's current. Level 2 would be other pharmacies in the area, and they would pay a higher copay and a percent of the drugs to go to those pharmacies. So level 1 examples, and this isn't every one of them, but this is the examples, the largest ones in the area: CVS, Target, Walmart, and Kroger. Level 2 would be Walgreens and Rite Aid. So Anthem has not got a better deal at those pharmacies than they do the level 1 pharmacies. Smart 90, again, employees get up to 90-day supply of maintenance drugs for either the Smart 90 retail pharmacy, the level 1 pharmacy, or they go through the home delivery, but it would have to be 90-day supply. They're saying this would cause fewer trips to the pharmacy for our employees, and that people who use the Smart 90 program have less interruption to their maintenance drugs, and they're more likely to stay on them. About 19% of people stay on them better by having a 90-day supply. So if we use the Smart 90 network price guarantee, you can see again there's some discounts off of what we're currently doing depending on what you do. So all these different things change, and you can see we go from 70 cents to 65 cents on generic drug dispensing fees, and back to 45 cents for the Smart 90, and then 0 for the delivery. So there are some cost savings involved with these programs. So one of the advantages of the contract, of course, we're always looking for money to save. The Smart 90 program would save $91,000 approximately. The one of choice, the pharmacy of choice, is $273,000. The rebate savings that we'll see under the program, if we go with this joint contract, would be $625,500 for a total of $989,500. However, we give up our current rebates that we're currently getting through Anthem to do this program. So we would give up those rebates to do this program, and that would be $577,000 we'd give up. So the total potential savings for this program would be $412,500. Also, it could assist employees with saving money on prescriptions, especially at specialty drug prices if we go to the exclusive specialty pharmacy, because they're less expensive, and Anthem has negotiated a better rate for that pharmacy. Not for the pharmacy of choice with level 1, because if they go to that pharmacy, it doesn't cost them any more than they're currently paying. But for those specialty drugs, they could end up paying a little bit less. We don't have a lot of scripts that are specialty drugs, but it could cost people less if they end up doing that. It could keep them on their track with their 90-day supply. As I said, the research has shown that people that get 90-day supply of maintenance drugs tend to stay on them better. There's less disruption, less times they're going to the pharmacy, and of course the savings is a consideration. Now there are some disadvantages. Disadvantages, we've finished our open enrollment for 2019. Employees have already received their information. They've already signed up for the program for January 1, and if we decided to do this, we would have to have effective and wide communication of this program to all employees. Some employees would need to switch their prescriptions to a level 1 provider in order not to have to pay the higher cost. And as you saw those different providers, if you're at Rite Aid, for instance, you'd have to change to one of the level 1 providers or you'd pay more. Employees who are currently not getting 90-day supplies of their drugs would need to go back to their doctors to get the prescriptions rewritten, because if you don't have a prescription for 90 days, then you'd have to get that rewritten in order to work under that program. And it will take 9 months for us to get our first rebate from the program, because they do a look back. So they have a run out time where they're getting bills from where people have already gone, which takes 2 to 4 months. And then after that, they have a full quarter of time when we're under the program, and then we start getting our rebates, because they look back to what's actually under the program for the previous 3 months, and we would start getting the rebates after 9 months. Currently, we're getting them monthly, but that would change. All right, I'm sure there's going to be lots of questions.
I have a question. Okay, the first thing I want to say is that the employees already have the advantage of 90-day prescriptions with Express Scripts. Okay, so that's not going to become an advantage necessarily for the employees, right?
Well, they can use Express Scripts, but this would this would make all maintenance drugs need to be 90 days.
Okay, well, what I'm hearing is that this sounds like a really great deal. However, it is a really good deal for the school system. This year, it's a really good deal for the school system. For the employees, it sounds to me like for right now, it's a nuisance. And I was just curious, since the city needs us so much more than we need the city, by virtue of the fact that we have far more employees than they, it would appear to me that this same program, we could take advantage of this next year, not cause any nuisance to our employees right now, and we would still get this advantage for both the employees and the school system next year. Does that make any sense?
I believe so, but that's just my, this is, very, has had a very quick turnaround. And October 4th was when we first got the call. It took some time for our consultant and for us to work through all the numbers in order to get it to you tonight. But there are some very clear disadvantages here.
It seems like it would be a really good program to implement next year. And of course, it's possible that the city may not want to get involved in it next year, but I can't see why they wouldn't, because it would be an advantage to them too, just as much next year as it is this year. Well, that's how I look at it.
I was thinking about the logistics of it all. If I had children who had allergies and I had to change all their prescriptions, then I'd have to take them out of school and take them to the doctor and get the prescriptions changed and get the other things done. I'd be interested in, I too would like to delay it until next year, till people have had a chance to process what's going on with this and what it would actually mean with regard to changing their prescriptions and what's available and who has it and how they would do all of this. I would hope that the city will allow us and will work with us next year to implement it. But I think we got the message the day before it was time to close our open enrollment.
Very close. Our open enrollment ended, October 5th.
Right, and we found out October 4th that this was something that we could do. I would really like to get the employees, because the people who are going to be impacted by this are our employees, and I really would like for them to have a reasonable time to look at what the options are before we make a decision to switch over after it's already started and tell them just work it out somehow. That's my 2 cents.
Any other comments from board members?
How many employees do we currently have that are involved in our insurance?
Of 1,564.
1,564. So this affects quite a number of people. Yeah.
I wonder how many the city has. You wouldn't know that necessarily, would you?
I know how many members they have. I don't know how many employees. They have members or them and their dependents. They have about 2490, right about the same as we do in the number of dependents and members. So we have 2,568, I believe, or something like that. So we're right close together. When you put us together, we make a good group because it's a lot of people.
Yeah, it does sound like
get some discounts there. But
yeah.
But again, our open enrollment.
Ms. Forsman, do you have any idea whether this would be available if we were to put it off a year?
I don't know, and there are several reasons for that. Number one, we are going out for bid in the end of this month for a new provider, perhaps. So we'll have to get through that process and see whether we even choose Anthem again, or if we can negotiate with Anthem if we keep them. There's a group, as you know, an entire group of people that looks at this, and there's opportunity to negotiate the same deal with Anthem under our own policy or under our own contract. There's a chance of doing this with the city, and then there's a chance that we may not choose Anthem. We may choose someone else, and we wouldn't know that much before February. So that would be a reason that I really would say we really don't know if we could do this.
Well, it's up to the board to decide whether you would like to explore this proposal, or you rather to ask the city to delay well, we can't ask the city to delay them, but we can delay our decision to whatever we would like to do.
I'd like to go along with Ms. Bouchard and Dr. Brooks Buck. I just think it's an opportune time for us to try to implement this for January 1st, since we've already been through open enrollment.
What kind of savings would this include?
The savings estimate is $412,500. 2019.
I mean, I do think that the savings is very appealing. It is very appealing, but is it worth it to disrupt the lives of our employees this year? I don't think so. I think it would be, something that, if given the proper time for them to be able to sign up and adjust to the changes, because they've already had to adjust to the changes for the insurance that we've put in this year. So I just think that's asking a lot of our employees, even if we are.
We call for the second, a motion was put on
I'm
the
sorry,
floor.
I didn't realize that you made a motion.
Didn't make a motion. The motion would need to be made. Do you want me to put that in the form of a motion, sir?
If you will.
Okay.
That's a good idea.
I'd like to move that the proposed changes to the employee 2019 drug prescription plan be voted down.
Second.
Sorry. I'm sorry. Did we want to say vote it down, or did we want to say we want to table it or delay it?
Well, it was actually a proposal for this year. That's why he,
That's
named it the way he did, because the only thing that's on the table is, do we go with this now
January
or
1st.
do we not? So that's why I think he put it that way. And I second that emotion.
Motion clear?
I have a question.
Okay.
Is the cost going to be any less to the people buying the drugs in the program now?
No, if we were to do this contract, the savings would be on the school division side only. And then the only potential that the employee would have for savings would be some of the specialty drugs if they went to the exclusive pharmacy that we would put in place or consider putting in place. But even then, we don't have any idea, especially drugs change daily, so I can't give you a really good idea of what the cost savings might be there, because specialty drugs literally change on a daily basis.
I think there'd be a lot of employees that would be very irritated by this right now.
Clear with the motion? Are we clear with the motion?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Board members will please vote. Motion carried.
Ms. Forsman, you did an excellent job trying to make that clear. Thank you.
Next we have, these ordinances, but this is strictly
First reading.
for informational. And this is be the first reading, so we won't take any action on these ordinances. We do have one public speaker on a non-agenda item. That's Ms. Joyce Hall.
Afternoon, members of the board, Mr. Chairman. I'm here for a very simple request, I think, and it's just to ask your assistance to get a written response to a letter that I sent by certified mail to 3 members at the school board, and these were sent dated January 3rd, 2018, and again on June 13, 2018. I have heard no response from them. I know that they received the information because I got the certified mail stickers back. But I have not received any response, and I think as a citizen that I am due a response. So again, my request is that you would help to get some movement on this and get a response back to me.
Mrs. Hall, do you would like to elaborate on anything further?
Beg your pardon?
Would you like to elaborate on your anything further pertaining to what you are referring to?
Well, I have a copy of the letter. It was observations that I had been able to see at the one of the elementary schools, and these were things that not only affected my grandson, but they also affected the other students that were there. I had an opportunity to see very bright students that really needed some additional nurturing so that they could be a part of that. Every student succeeds. It would be a realization for them. From what I could understand and what I could see, that was not the case in this instance. So I do have a copy of the letters that I sent if you would like to see them, or if you would like to tell me where else I need to send them to get a response.
We refer it to the superintendent.
We can get a copy of the letter, Mr., and we'll hold on to it and respond.
Sir? Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
I thank you very much.
Thank you. The superintendent will get in touch with you pertaining to your request on this letter, okay?
Thank you again.
Thank you. Now we'll have business by board members. We will go, Dr. Dobransky.
I'd like to know where we are with budget program as far as the not the operating budget, but the capital budget and the things that we're having to improve upon.
The operating budget, where we are, we're in the middle of developing our operating budget now. We've received feedback from each of the departments as well as principals, and our next steps will be, I'll be meeting with the directors as well as assistant superintendents, deciding what we're actually going to place in the budget. And then from there, that's when we'll be getting the board's input to move forward with what we actually will include in the proposed budget. Capital budget. The capital budget we've already sent to the city, but just based on your most recent approval, we'll be adding the additional Northern Shores project. Mm-hmm.
I would just like to welcome the new board members who have just been elected, and let you know that I think it's a very good thing to bring new ideas and new blood onto the board. I think it will, it can only get better by doing that. And I personally am very sad to be leaving the board, but I have to do that because I believe in term limits, and I believe that 8 years is enough time for, at least it was enough time for me to have brought some new ideas. Some of them were accepted, some of them were rejected, some of them were laughed at. It was, but I do want to say that the one thing that I think has been one of the most important things for me for this 8 years is that when I was a teacher here for 20 years, I didn't really know what went on in in the superintendent's offices. And I still believe that there was some dead weight in there when I was a teacher. But I can honestly say that the people that are working for our superintendent have been the hardest working, most creative, most open-minded people that I've ever had the pleasure of working with. And I want to thank all of you for that. And I hope that our new board members will be able to appreciate what you contribute to the school system. And for me, I'm going back to become a substitute teacher because I really miss the kids. And so if any of you know where I could fit in, please don't hesitate to let me know, because I'll be working for you now. Thank you.
I'll interrupt 1 minute. I think we had a board-elect member to come in since we recognize the other two. Mr. Riddick, are you present? Mr. Riddick. Okay. Thank you. All right, now we'll go to Mrs. Skeeter.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to see all of you who've been elected to the school board. I want to say to Ms. Mayo is not here, but it was an opportunity to be, I guess, one of her bosses, because she was a principal the whole time up until recently. As you know, I have 25 and a half years on the school board. So I've seen many of you come, many of you go, and of course, many of you have done a great job here. Mr. Riddick, I don't know how we got connected, but we've had some good times and have talked about things, and when he decided to do this, I guess because I'd been here so long, he talked to me a little bit about it. And I said, try it. You know, you just go out and try it. You'll get your name out there anyway. So I congratulate you, Mr. Riddick, on your election. And of course, Miss Story, I just got to meet her in a hall or someplace in there, but I'm sure she will be an excellent school board member. Now, Miss Jenkins, I knew the day she was born. I got to hold her in a blanket. I got to be in the household with her, but her mother and I were good friends, are still good friends. When she started kindergarten, I was her teacher, and from then on, I taught her, just said that way. An excellent person, and I was so proud when she decided that she was going to run, because when she called me, and she said, I heard you're not running, right? I'm not. Well, I don't want to run there. If you're going to run, I guess she thought I could beat her. If the two of us went it together, I would be the winner. But I'm so proud to have had a student who's now coming in to help with the school system. And I believe everyone is a graduate of Suffolk Public Schools. I don't know about Miss Story. You're not. Is there everyone else is a graduate of Suffolk Public Schools, right?
Read it, Ms. Mayo?
Ms. Mayo is, yeah. Mm-hmm. So that's great to know they're going to be here and help bring the school up much further, as Mrs. Jenkins said. See, I call her Lynette. You all know her as Karen. But as she stated in her article, she was going to come on board in order to keep things going as a present board. And that was positive. I thought that she would say that and not say something negative. Not that anyone else said it, but I read it in her article. So we're so glad to have you coming on. I don't know if this will be your seat right here, but I guess the opportunity, if you could get around there, you'd be on the camera more. So congratulations to all of you in there. Thank you.
All right. Yeah. Mr. Benedict.
I'd just like to congratulate those school board elect members and look forward to working with you, and hope you'll all be able to come to to Williamsburg with us next week for the Virginia School Board Association Convention.
All right, Dr. Brooke Buck.
Well, I'd like to say ditto to all of these folks. I was going to reserve my comments about the people who are leaving for next month.
You better let us cry while you do it next time.
Okay, for next month, but I have been on the board with you guys since I've been on the board. All of us have been the same team since I've been here. And I've really enjoyed working with you. Whether we agreed or disagreed, we did so in an agreeable fashion. And it's been a wonderful experience working with you. And I knew all of you were committed to doing the best that you could for children first and for our communities and our faculty and staff. So it's been a pleasure working with you. I'll say the teary stuff next month. I'll say that for next month. As always, I congratulate those people who are going to be on the board, and I look forward to working with all of you. We've worked together as a team, and I believe that the people who are coming to join the team will understand that we work together as a team, and as long as we do, we're successful. And to employees, as I always say, keep doing the job you're doing. We're doing some good things and we have some great results. So if we keep on doing what we're doing, we'll be where we want to be. Congratulations to Northern Shores Elementary School for the great honor you got this evening. I'm really excited about that. And I'm truly excited about the new building. So we're hoping to push that through.
Thank you. Ms. Byram?
Ditto. Anyway, I think I spoke to each one of the new members coming on board recently, and I look forward to working with all of you. And I know each of you bring a lot of good things to the board, and that is to be commended. Another statement about Ms. Skeeter over here. Ms. Skeeter's been around a long time, as she led us to believe, 25 and a half years. And I believe coming up next Wednesday, she will receive a special award from the Virginia School Board Association, honoring her 25 wonderful years in support of Suffolk Public Schools. And I know Ms. Lorraine Skeeter well enough to know that if we don't do our jobs correctly, right, Dr. Whitney? She will be the first one to pick up the telephone and call and remind us of our ethics and our duties. And I commend her for giving service to this city 25 and a half years. And thank you so much, Ms. Skeeter.
Don't cry, Lorraine.
I'm not.
Well, I too like to thank all of the board members as well as all of the new board members elect who coming on board. I'm looking forward for you to raise the plateau higher for our school system. We have a wonderful school system. We have brought it quite a ways, and I'm looking forward for you to take it that much further. We only have 2 schools left to be fully accredited, and next year, hopefully, this board coming on, the new members, along with the 3 returning members, will do a magnificent job for our school system. Suffolk has despite the critics we hear about Suffolk school system, and as a graduate of the school system many years ago, I'm real pleased to have been a member of the Suffolk school system. As a student, as a teacher, as a principal, as a guidance counselor, as a coordinator at risk students, as a city councilman, and now as a school board member. I have devoted 20 years, as December 31st will give me 20 years as a public servant in the Suffolk school, not Suffolk school system necessarily, but in the Suffolk city period. And I have enjoyed every minute of it, And but as time goes on, you have to make decisions. And I made mine 4 years ago that this would be my last time serving as a public servant. Of course, I'm going to still be out there, I can tell you that, as long as God give me breath. Try to improve the city as well as the school system. And I really appreciate working with all of you. I think we have bonded quite well, quite well. And that is no easy task to bond together. One member does not make a board. It takes 7 members to make a board. 7 members. And to the new people as well, you're going to have a lot to learn. I can tell you that. You might have your ideas of doing this and doing that. You can find out that it's not going to be as easy as you think it is. Because they're the same people who are now, hoorah, hoorah, they're going to be the same ones giving it to you now. So you could believe that. It's not an easy task. But we all enjoy what we do.
Yes.
We enjoy what we do. If we didn't, we wouldn't be where we are. And we appreciate, and I know you do as well, you appreciate the people who supported you and those who didn't support you. You have to represent all of them. Whether they supported you or not, you still have to represent everybody. And so we'll make our sad song next month, hopefully, and go out on a bang. We enjoyed working. I have personally enjoyed working with the superintendent this year as chair. Thank you, Dr. Debransky, for allowing me to serve as a chair. Mike served quite some time as a chair.
So did Miss Skeeter.
And Miss Skeeter served as a chair.
She served forever.
So as a chair, you do a little extra. You have to go sometimes when you don't want to represent the board. So thank you, Dr. Debransky, for, I said Dr. Debransky, he came to me and asked me if I would take this job. And so I said, yeah, I'll take it. So anyway, with the support of the other board members, of course, they had to vote for me, and they did. And thank you all, too. We appreciate that. Now we will have the closed meeting. No. Informational item. We have that. Okay. Action of closed meeting. Ms. Personnel Report, Mrs. Byram.
I move that we approve the personnel report as presented.
Second.
I had a question on 2 information items.
Okay, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. First, I'd like to check in on the administrative safety data on page 135. And I'll ask Dr. Whitney first. Is there any verification of the information that's included in these this data that's listed on this chart?
You say verification, you mean that it actually occurred?
Yes, sir.
Well, the principals submit the date that they actually take place.
As I look through it, if you look at the third item up from the bottom, there were 3 different items done on the same day of the month. And I don't know, having worked at a high school, how disruptive to have 3 different drills on the same day of the month would have been.
Right.
And, it just seems like that we probably need to question that one. If you could, sir.
I certainly will. I'll find out that it actually occurred. If it actually occurred or if the date's incorrect, but I can certainly find out.
Okay.
There are some others that have 2 of the same dates. I don't know that you couldn't do some of them at the same time.
Well, it's certainly, if you do multiple on the same day, it's going to take away from instructional time on the same day. Yeah, I noticed other schools had two. But it's just something that I think requires some validation.
I think one was a bus evacuation.
Again, I can check to see if it actually occurred on those dates. Frankly, we have to rely on what the principals submit. I mean, I certainly am trusting principals that they're putting the correct date in there. I'd like to think that if it didn't happen on these dates, there's another date. Certainly, I wouldn't expect any false information up here, so I'm more than willing to confirm that.
If you would, sir, I appreciate it. And the other item I'd like to check on is item number 7, the standard diploma graduation update. I'm confused as to what year we're discussing. Is this the class of 19 information that we have before us?
This, I'm going to call to the podium Dr. Bird. On page 149.
All right, could I get a repeat of the question, please?
On page 151, what year's class are we talking about? Was this last year's class, this year's class?
This information is the current graduating cohort right now, this year's senior class.
Okay, that was never made clear, so I was just, it does say this year's senior class, but I was a little confused by the information.
We present this periodically, so you should see these numbers increase all the way to, in some cases, 100% as the year goes on.
This is new information for me. I don't think I've ever seen this report before. So I appreciate it. Thank you very much for the clarification.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mitnick. We will continue with our reports. Pupil personnel report, we didn't ever, I don't think.
I made the
No,
motion.
the personnel report had a motion and a
didn't approve
second,
it.
but no vote yet. If board members will please vote. Motion carried.
Next, Mrs. Byram, pupil personnel reports.
I move that we approve the pupil personnel report as presented.
Second.
If board members will please vote. Motion carried.
This concludes our board meeting for November the 8th, 2018. I declare this meeting adjourned.